I've been thinking a lot lately about getting a new lens for street photography. I have the 12 to 200 millimeter, but it is kind of cumbersome, and sometimes I just miss the fun of having a fixed focal length. But I can't really decide. Do I go with the 20? Do I go with the 25, which will be 40 or 50 equivalent on a full frame? Or do I go with something a little bit wider, maybe something a little bit tighter? Probably want to try some different options out, and that's why I've been using the zoom lens a lot lately, honestly, is because I've been going out shooting lots of photos, and then I get back, where was I really using different focal lengths? Am I zooming in, am I zooming out? But what I find is actually that may not be the best way to really figure out what my favorite focal length is for street photography. Sweater. Yeah. The zoom lens, it can become kind of like a crutch where I will just by default always, zoom in instead of trying to get close. So I've been debating, do I get the 20, do I get the 25 millimeter? The other day we had beautiful weather and I wanted to go to downtown Chicago and do some street photography, head around to the Christmas market and just enjoy the festivities. I took the prime that I have. I have two options. I have the 30, which in crowded area gives me 60 millimeter equivalent, and that starts to feel really tight, but I did bring it with me. And I also brought the 9 millimeter. I actually planned on using the 30 millimeter, but I started out with the 9, and I started having so much fun with this lens that this stayed on the camera for 3 hours. It's funny, when I had the Ricoh GR3X, that was a 40 millimeter equivalent focal length. And that's the camera that I really started doing street photography with about 3 years ago. And what I found is I got used to that focal length, and it was great. And I was really comfortable with that focal length. But even with that 40, I would feel sometimes it was tight.
Hi. Take a picture real quick.
Oh yeah, oh cool camera. I love these. Yeah. Oops.
Thank you.
Sure, check it out, make sure it's good.
Oh,
Well, it'll take a while.
For it to...
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Oh, neat. As I was getting used to street photography, I still wasn't very comfortable getting too close to people, even with that tiny camera. And so I would sometimes even crop in a little bit, and I started thinking, the 50 would be great. So a few sessions ago, when I was using this Olympus in the zoom lens, I had 12 to 45 millimeter f4, and I would keep that at 25 millimeters to approximate the 50 millimeter focal length. And I found I did like that, but again, it was tight, but you know, it was comfortable, it was easy. I didn't have to get too close to people to get good subject filling shots. I did not expect to go to downtown Chicago with this 9mm and keep it on my camera all day. But what I found is this very wide angle lens, which gives you 18mm full frame equivalent. It's very easy to get almost everything in focus to where you don't even have to try. And I found myself getting very comfortable, getting very close to people, being able to just fire away. And the Leica 9mm, no matter what I would do, I could even be swinging the camera around, turn it, fire, and I'm nailing focus almost every time. That's very good. Nice, nice. Hey, hey. Sweet. Hey. Oh, sweet. That is awesome. I like it. Yeah, nice. If I would get too close, sometimes I would miss focus because maybe the autofocus just wouldn't work that close, but I started to learn what the range was, and I could keep the aperture down to like f1.8, f2, and it was still giving me so much in focus just because these ultra-wides, they just give you a deep depth of field. And it's great for street photography, but still letting in a lot of light. And I find myself getting more and more comfortable just kind of firing this. And another cool thing with the ultra-wide is when you put it into portrait, you can kind of like go down and kind of angle up a little bit and get like full body shots in these really interesting perspectives. Started out kind of slow with it, wasn't really sure what I was doing. At first I was kind of treating it, you know, like you would a normal focal length and not filling the frame, but I was still kind of happy as long as there was a lot of depth of activity and the frame was still filling up, it was okay. But as the day went on and I started to accept what this lens gives and also the limitations of going ultra wide, my style started to evolve just throughout the day to where it made me want to get in close, and I felt really comfortable getting in close, which I never thought I would. Again, I gravitated towards longer and longer focal lengths before because I did not want to get in close, but I realized, especially in crowded areas, going ultra wide is a lot of fun, and it's much easier than I thought it would be. I know it's counterintuitive. You might be thinking, oh, I never want to try doing street photography with a 9mm. But if you're in a pretty crowded area, you'll be surprised just how well this works, and like nobody's gonna notice you. If you're worried about people seeing you take their photo or whatever, this thing is so discreet. You know, when everything is in focus and it's so wide, you don't have to be too accurate even with the way you're pointing the camera. So I never had to take the camera up to my eye and actually take the photo, unless I really had some time and wanted to compose something. But as I got more and more comfortable with this, and as I was shooting more and more close up, it was basically hip shooting. I was basically down from the waist here, just kind of firing away. Even off to the side, I can be walking, looking ahead, And getting the shots off to the side so easy, as you'll see. Nailing focus and nailing the subject almost every time. Nothing a little bit of cropping can't fix in the end, or sometimes you just go with the Dutch tilt that you got and you know, be happy with the shot. This is now kind of my favorite, and it has me rethinking what other prime do I want to go with next for street photography. I think I might even go a little bit wider than the 20. Maybe go for, you know, like a 12 or a 15 or... Yeah, I'm thinking to go a little bit wider, especially for very crowded areas. Now, if I were doing, you know, travel or street photography in a less crowded area, I probably wouldn't be as comfortable with the 9mm, or I would be working harder to get interesting ultra wide shots where I really need to make sure that I'm filling the foreground with something interesting. But in a crowded area, I think this is great. The wider you go, the easier hip shooting is, and it can be so much fun. I would be really curious to know what your go-to favorite street prime lens is for street photography in crowded areas. Are you rocking a 50mm equivalent, maybe a 75 or a 90? Or are you going ultra wide like I am here? Pocket picture. Very cool hat. I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, enjoying yourselves. Keep getting out there and keep shooting, and we'll see you back here next time on Be Mad Photo.